Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of the Falls Township Zoning Hearing Board. I'd like to start by saluting the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'll start with some board introductions here. To my right is Laney Strylick. To my left immediately is Al Brooks. To his left is Doug Mole. And on the far end is our alternate sitting in tonight, Aaron Mackey. Our court reporters, Karen Wright-Browndorf. For the township, we have Matt Takita. He's the chief zoning officer, township manager, and a lot of other hats. And Diane Burry. And on Zoom, we have our solicitor, Keith Bidlingmeyer, and also from the township, Ed Newbauer. That's who I'm Dan Miles, by the way, thank you. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to be continuing a couple petitions on the record. One is Oak Village, in case anybody's here to hear that. But we'll start with, received a letter for petition number 4, Rimple Patel, 155 Liberty Drive, Langhorne, PA, 19047, requesting a dimensional variance to erect a deck, which will exceed the allowable building coverage of 1089 square feet. We received a letter from Mr. Patel requesting to withdraw the application from consideration. So, Keith, is there anything I need to add to that?
No,
Okay,
that's sufficient, Dan. Thank you.
So, yeah, that application is withdrawn, needs no further vote or anything with it, just to have that. The other is petition number 6 for okay? And-
Tom is in the back there. He's going to answer any of the technical
Okay,
questions.
so, Tom, you want to be sworn in too, please? I'm sorry.
If you have a technical question,
You got to be sworn in if you're going to speak.
I know.
Okay, so if we have a question, sorry about that. It's just as disruptive to do it now as it is in 5 minutes. Cool. Okay, Laney?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't have any questions.
Okay, Al?
I have none
Doug?
whatsoever.
I have none.
Aaron?
Just a quick question, that, on the side where this is gonna go, is there already a fence there?
Currently, yes.
There currently is a fence. Got it.
The
Great.
fence will come down when they do the construction so that they have room
Is
to
it
move
right?
equipment.
Is it your fence or it's the neighbor's fence?
It's our fence.
It's your fence. Are you planning on putting it back up?
It's just a chain link fence. We're not going to put it back up. It'll be it's only 4 feet tall. One of those little small, for basically keep a dog inside the yard.
Got it. Again, my understanding of this particular zoning rule is it's about kind of being respectful of neighbors, that you're not building right on top of them, right? And so that's why I was asking about whether there was already some kind of privacy fence or something else there.
No.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions. Any public comments for the Pfeifles? No, thank you. Matt, anything, we received any letters or anything?
Nothing from the township.
Okay, excellent. Great. Any further questions, anybody? Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I've got a motion. I move that the application of James and Helen Pfeifle requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-20.f and table 1 of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to erect an addition with a side yard setback of 6.4 feet, which is less than the required 10 feet, at the property located at 214 South Oaks Boulevard, Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania 19030, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Doug, poll the board, please.
Oh, gosh, I don't know everybody's names. Aaron?
Aye.
Laney?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Doug, yes, and Dan.
Yes.
You caught me off guard here, sorry.
Okay, your motion, your petition's been passed. You'll receive a letter from from our solicitor about next steps and moving forward, okay?
Excellent.
Thank you, have a great night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Yep, thank you.
Sorry about that, guys. He threw me for a loop.
You're the secretary.
I am, all right, well, thanks.
Lady's been pitching in for you for the last,
I didn't know.
the whole year. Okay, petition number 2, Brian and Peggy Bogarde, 223 Vernon Road, Morrisville, PA, requesting a dimensional variance to erect a shed which has a rear yard setback of 18 inches, which is less than the required 4 feet. Good evening. Okay.
everybody.
Hey,
Hey.
all right. Good evening. So we'll get you sworn in, we'll mark the stuff, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll have questions.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, could you please state your full name?
Peggy Bogarde, B-O-G-A-R-D-E.
Brian J. Bogart, B-R-I-A-N.
Okay, now our solicitor will mark the exhibits for the petition, and then we'll get going, okay? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB 1, along with the accompanying statement from the applicants. 2 will be a permit denial letter from Falls Township dated June 10, 2022, addressed to the applicants. 3 is a site plan which includes the proposed structure addition, the shed. 4 is an impervious calculation sheet. 5 are 2 colored photographs on 2 separate pages. Both show the property was posted as required. 6 are the neighbor and applicant notification letters from Falls Township. Those letters are dated June 29, 2022, giving notice of tonight's meeting. 7 is proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, showing this matter was published June 28th, and then again July 5th, 2022. That is all the board exhibits. Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied the appropriate notice have been satisfied, and this matter can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Billingmeyer. Chase, Peggy, what's going on?
Well,
the yard isn't really big, we need storage, and, so we wanted a little bit bigger area to store stuff and not take up too much of the yard, so we could still have a picnic with a couple tables and stuff and not be on top of each other.
Yeah, we're just putting
A shed.
the existing shed is too small. We're just gonna put a bigger one, a little bit bigger one in, so,
10 by 10.
you know.
Okay,
And the variant was 4 foot or something from the line.
And it would only be
and
18
That
feet.
was, we didn't want it to be that far out, that's why we're,
But only on the back side.
but only on the backside.
The
Everything
other
else fit,
side,
right?
it's plenty of room.
Yep, I see that. Okay, let's see if the board has any questions, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Aaron?
Yeah, great. So,
Aaron.
existing shed,
It was just
Is it
a,
in the
from
same place?
Sam's,
Yeah,
yeah.
the new
It was
shed
a
is gonna go
Rubbermaid.
exactly where the old one is.
so
Might be
the
my
sort of footprint of
accent.
the existing shed, you're gonna put the new one on top of that, but it's gonna push back
But it's gonna
against the
push
back
out
of
a
that.
little bit more.
Makes perfect sense, thanks.
Doug?
Thank you, Aaron, that's all I had.
Al?
Now, same thing, and I understand where you're gonna put it because of the pool, so you don't really have much spot, much space to put it, so I have nothing else.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. Laney?
No, I don't have any questions.
Any public comments, questions? Nope. Matt, anything letter-wise?
Nothing from the township.
Yeah, great, didn't see anything in the packet either. Would someone like to make a motion for petition?
Got a motion for you? I move that the application of Brian and Peggy Bogarde requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-20.f and table 1 of the Falls County zoning ordinance be granted to erect a shed with a rear yard setback of 18 inches, which is less than the required 4 feet at the property located at 223 Vernon Road, Morrisville, PA 19067, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Doug, call the board.
Laney?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Dan?
Yes. So the petition passes, you'll get a letter from Mr. Billy Meyer's office.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, have a good night.
All right, moving along. Petition number 3, Victor Yang, 316 Austin Drive, Fairless Hills, PA, requesting a dimensional variance to erect a shed which will exceed the allowable impervious surface coverage. Good evening, Mr. Yang.
Hello, how are you?
I'm going to have you sworn in by our court reporter, okay?
Yeah.
To affirm?
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the
Yes.
truth? Could you just state your full name, please?
Yang Victor, Y-A-N-G, last name, Victor, V-I-C-T-O-R.
Okay, Mr. Yang, give us a moment. We're going to mark the exhibits through the township for our solicitor, and then we're going to turn it
Sure.
over to you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB 1, along with the accompanying statement from the applicant. 2 will be a permit denial letter from Falls Township dated May 31st, 2022, addressed to the applicant. 3 is an impervious calculation sheet. 4 is a hand-drawn plan of the property. 5 are 2 pages containing 2 colored photographs, one of which shows the property was posted as required. 6 are the neighbor and applicant notification letters. Those letters are dated June 29, 2022. They were sent to the applicant and also the adjoining or abutting property owners, giving notice of tonight's meeting. 7 is proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, showing that this matter was published June 28. That is satisfied, and this matter can proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Billy Meyer. Mr. Yang,
Yes.
okay, your turn to explain what's going on.
I just want to build this shed for the, put in the mover, snow mover and etc. Because now I have the small one. It's too small, yeah.
Got it. Okay,
And the neighbor is bigger than me, the shed is.
understood. Okay, I want to see if any of my colleagues up here have questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Great, Laney?
You're gonna put the shed where the other one was? Is that what you're gonna do?
It's a metal shed, it's 5 by 5.
But you're gonna put it in the
Yeah,
the
we-
same area? right?
Yeah, I will take down, yeah.
Take the other one down,
Yeah.
and doing that. That's all I have.
Great, okay, Al?
No, I totally agree with you, Don.
Doug?
I have no questions, Dan.
Aaron?
So my question is just, and maybe it's even to Mr. Takita, that I can't get the numbers to add up in terms of what's being asked for and what I'm hearing. So there's an existing shed there, so that is already impervious space that doesn't actually seem accounted for.
That one,
here.
I will destroy
Well, you're
them.
gonna take that away,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then you're gonna put the new shed in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in its place. So I guess I'm also just wondering,
Because my flat,
Yeah.
I don't have the basement, I don't have the
Sure, no,
second
you need
floor.
storage.
I don't have the driveway, the garage, so I need some space to put the thing in the shed.
Yep, I understand the need, I'm just trying to see where the discrepancy is, where the difference is. So, it looks like you have, a regular sized lot, the house is 1,900 square feet. It seems like you should have plenty of room for
I don't think it's,
usage.
I don't think it's the
for
impervious,
a shed.
I don't think it's the impervious surface, it's off the property line, isn't it?
No. Says the,
Is denied due to impervious surface coverage. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
just
the
the
impervious
clarification
surface
I
coverage
need.
is being calculated based on the deeded lot area through the county.
Right.
So
Total lot.
the lot area that is shown on the impervious surface sheet, but if you look at the dimensions of the plan, they're not gonna be the same. Deeded lot area ends up being less. So that's why the numbers,
Okay.
you're seeing the excess.
Okay, great, thanks for clarifying.
Is that all, Aaron? I'm sorry. Any public comments? No? I don't think there's any public left, thank you. I have no questions. Matt, any other comments?
Nothing from the township.
From the township? Nothing? Thank you. Somebody like to make a motion?
Here we go. I move that the application of Victor Yang requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-20.f and table 1 of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to erect a shed which will exceed the allowable impervious surface coverage of 2,491.6 square feet at the property located at 316 Austin Drive, Fairless Hills, PA 19030, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Clerk, poll the board.
Laney?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Al?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Dan?
Yes. Okay. Your petition has been approved.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll receive a letter about
Okay.
replacing the shed, okay?
So when I receive the letter, I can call someone to build up, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. I guess because I was reading.
Okay, petition number 4 was continued. Petition number 5, Jay and Nancy Lawson, 517 South Olds Boulevard, Fairless Hills, PA. Requesting the following dimension variances, section 209-20.f, to construct an addition to permit side yard setback of 1 foot when 10 foot is required. 209-20.f, allow accessory structure to be placed on the rear property line. And section 209-20C.1, to permit an accessory building to be used as a private garage in excess of 500 square feet of floor area and 16 feet in height. Good evening, Mr. McGinnis.
Good evening.
I'm glad you're well.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm Mike McGinnis, here on behalf of the Lawsons.
And we'll get your witness sworn in first.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Could you just state your full name?
Jason Richard Lawson.
Thanks.
Okay, and Keith, do you have questions for Mr. McGinnis, or you just want to start with your exhibits?
I'll start with the exhibits. Since it's residential, the township took care of
Yep.
service. So, Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as EHB1 along with the accompanying statement. 2 are 2 pages containing 2 colored photographs, both of which show that the property was posted as required. 3 is the neighbor and applicant notification letters dated June 29, 2022. Included in that is notification to Mr. McGinnis, who is representing the applicant, of course. 4 is proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier-Times showing this matter ran June 28th and then again July 5th, 2022. Exhibit 5 will be two separate sets of plans for the proposed addition and also one for the proposed garage structure. That is all the exhibits, all the board exhibits that we have. I'm satisfied the appropriate notice have been satisfied, and this matter can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Billymeyer. Mr. McGinnis?
Thank you. Good evening. As I stated, the applicants in this matter are Jason and Nancy Lawson, and I will give a brief reintroduction here. Obviously, we discussed this matter at length 2 months ago. The subject parcel is 517 South Olds Boulevard, which is zoned NCR. As the board may recall, when we appeared previously, we were proposing a large addition to the rear, which was going to be a separate structure, and that structure was going to be partially comprised of a residential component, which we discussed, and partially comprised of a storage facility / garage. We took the feedback from the board and the discussion that evening and went back to the drawing board. I think there was considerable conversation at that time regarding concerns that the board would have approving a separate detached residential dwelling and concerns specifically regarding any potential precedential value that that would have for future applications, and said, is there a way that we could really do what we're trying to accomplish here, which is to create space for Mr. Lawson's father and for Mr. McTague and his wife who are here in a more standard manner, and specifically with the plan that's in front of you this evening as a attached in-law suite while still having the same, whether we want to label it a garage or oversized storage structure to the rear. So we took that feedback into account. We redesigned the plan. We resubmitted it in a way that's in front of you this evening. So specifically, what's in front of you, I would, I guess, phrase as a more standard application in this township. That would be an attached in-law suite, which again will make the same overture that we made at the meeting 2 months ago. We'd still be more than happy to deed restrict that to blood relatives or anything else that would be required as a condition of approval. The neighbor who, one of the items that we discussed at the meeting was how the large residential property owner to the adjacent piece, because remember one side abuts a large commercial structure, 3 structures, and then one side abuts a large residential property. That property owner, Mr. Lawson, will affirm is still in support of this application with the revised plan. And then the structure to the rear, which would be 40 by 40, and I will state for the record, the height, since technically we're asking for a height variance, would be 20 feet. 16 feet is permitted by ordinance. Would not be there to store standard vehicles. We touched on this previously, but Mr. Lawson has a large camper that's approximately 38 feet that would be stored there. That camper is only accessed once a year. The rest of that storage facility was really for tools and other personal equipment that would be stored to the rear of the property. So there aren't going to be vehicles that are accessing the rear of the property. So whether you want to phrase it as a garage or a storage facility, that's in essence how it's going to function here. If you look at the plan, I would submit that there is no other location for the addition that we're seeking to build. There is already a pool and other improvements to the rear of the site. There's an easement which bisects the property. So really the only location that we could build the attached in-law suite is the area that's depicted. One item that I would want to clarify, because if you look at the architectural rendering, one of the questions that might come up is, well, there's one bedroom that's shown there, and we discussed at length the idea that Mr. Lawson's father would move to the site, and then Mr. McTague, who's here, and his wife would also move. Well, why is there only one bedroom? And the answer to that is Jason and Nancy would move into the in-law suite, and then Mr. Lawson's father and Mr. McTague, who's here, and his wife would then reside in the main structure. So that is an explanation for what you see with respect to the architectural depiction. This site plan has allowed us to eliminate the variance pertaining to having 2 single-family detached dwellings on site. We also would be compliant with respect to impervious surface. So we do still need dimensional variances related to the side yard setback, I will reiterate the neighbor remains supportive. The rear yard setback, we discussed at length last time how this backs on a significant amount of open space, so that's a no impact variance. And then again, for the accessory structure to be greater than what's permitted, which is 500 feet, square feet and 16 feet of height. I would state, again, for the reasons discussed previously, that this is a unique property. It's 2/3 of an acre. It is between a commercial property and a very large residential structure, and the neighbors in this area are supportive, and that this truly is a no-impact application, which no longer has the same concern regarding setting some sort of negative precedent for future applications in the township. So with that, I would like Mr. Lawson to just be offered to have brief testimony and then open this up to the board for any questions you might have, if that's acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. McGinnis.
All right. Good evening, Jason. Can you please state your name again for the record?
Jason Lawson.
Okay. And without providing overly redundant testimony, you are still the owner of the subject property, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and you still reside on site, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and we discussed at the last meeting that we appeared 2 months ago that you're looking to build an additional residential space for your father due to his declining health.
Correct.
Okay, and it was also discussed that your son-in-law, who's here this evening, and daughter would be moving into the structure as well, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that was, at the time, that was proposed as an additional structure to the rear of this site, is that correct?
Yes, another building.
Okay, and the plan has been revised to turn this, thank you very much. Always solving problems. This plan has been revised now to depict what's in front of the board, and specifically, that would be a 40 by 40, what I've classified as an oversized shed or garage, and an attached in-law suite. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. Can you just explain the intention of what would be stored in that shed if this is approved?
So my father has a 38-foot fifth wheel trailer that'll be going in there, a 20-foot bass boat. We have a few quads that have to go in there, and then tools and other storage area stuff that's going to be moved in there.
Okay.
No hazmats or anything like that.
No normal vehicles that are going to be stored there, so there aren't going to be vehicles that are accessing the rear of the property?
No, the only time the vehicle will be back there to access it is once in the beginning of the summer to remove the trailer, once at the end of the summer to put the trailer in, same way with the boat.
Okay. There's still no commercial vehicle repair and no business that would be operated out of the structure, is that correct?
No.
And I stated that the height of the structure would be approximately 20 feet, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we have proposed an attached one-bedroom in-law suite, is that right?
Yes.
And you're still willing to deed restrict that to blood relatives and family, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And again, I made the representation, if you look at the site plan, that the addition is being built to the rear yard because you can't actually build it directly behind the house because of the location of the pool that's on site, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And the plan for it is to look, the addition, to look substantially like the renderings that have been submitted to the board, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your neighbor, and specifically I'm talking about the residential neighbor that's immediately adjacent to this site, is aware of this application?
Yes, he is.
And they submitted a letter in support for the prior application, is that correct?
Yes.
And they remain in support of the application this evening, is that correct?
Yes, talking with him, he's still in support.
All right, and we would eliminate the shed that's currently on site where the addition would be built, is that correct?
That will be removed and demolished.
And your father and son-in-law would presumably then move into the house as is currently depicted on site, is that right?
Correct.
And you and your wife would move into the in-law suite, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you still believe that this is an appropriate size lot for this use, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Is there any reason why you think that this would have a negative impact with respect to the property to the rear of the site with your addition?
No.
All right. And you are not going to rent the in-law suite to any third parties, is that correct?
No rentals.
Okay. And again, I'm assuming you'll affirm the same position that you don't believe this will be detrimental to any of your neighbors or the surrounding community, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. I have nothing further for Mr. Lawson.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis.
Thank
So
you.
we'll open it up now for some board questions.
Thank you.
Okay. Doug?
I don't have any at this time.
Aaron?
So you already answered one of my questions. So I noticed that there was no driveway to the, you're not talking about doing a driveway to the pole barn, and you're not planning to be in and out of there a whole lot. Makes sense. And just, I guess, just quickly for my own education, you've mentioned a couple times that you could deed restrict to make sure that, this is zoned NCR, there's no rental, I can't rent one of my extra, kids' bedrooms anyway, right? So what is that really, is that really an offer that has meaning, or like, why is that even being brought up?
So the reason why I offer to throw that out is if you deed restrict it and it's actually put in the deed, I have no idea what Falls might do at a later date with respect to its zoning change.
So if the zoning
Now,
changed,
now
the
it's
deed
in a
would
chain of
still-
title, so if the Lawsons go to sell the site, anybody who's purchasing this property realizes that even if there's a separate entrance,
can't sublet, they can't
can't,
rent it, they can't-
exactly.
okay.
So it's,
All right.
it might not have an impact now, but it might have an impact 10 years from now.
Great, I appreciate it, thank you.
Yep.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Al?
No, I see exactly what you're doing, Mr. Lawson. I have no questions.
Lady?
The auxiliary building in the back that you want to put in there, there's no way to make it in code the way it is. You can't move it forward or anything like that. It has to go in that back corner.
Yeah, if we move it forward, then we're going to be close to the sewer easement that goes through the yard.
Okay. You're not planning on putting any electric back there, or any sewer or water or anything like that, right?
No.
At any point in time, right? Okay. And getting the fifth wheel in and out, I'm assuming you're going to use the side gate that goes into the private property next door?
No, we're going to put a gate on the left side of the property and drive through there on our own property.
Okay. I have no more further questions.
Thank you. I have no questions. Any public comments, questions? Matt, any letters from the township or anything?
No letters from the township, just one point of clarification though. Because of the location of the shed to the rear property line, it's right on the property line, and then also only 1 foot off of the neighbor's property. You'll have construction and maintenance easement agreements?
In order to construct anything, we would need a construction easement agreement. That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Yep, perfect. Okay, no further board comments, questions? Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that the application of Jason and Nancy Lawson requesting the following dimensional variances from the following sections of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to construct an addition with a side yard setback of 1 foot when 10 foot is required as set forth in section 209-20F. Number 2, allowing an accessory structure to be placed on the rear property line where a 4-foot setback is otherwise required pursuant to section 209-20F, and also to permit an accessory building to be used as a private garage in excess of 500 square feet of floor area and 16 foot in height as set forth in section 209-20C, parens 1. That property located at 517 South Olds Boulevard, Fairless Hills, PA 19030, as depicted on the plans in accordance with testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Doug, if you could pull the board, please.
Laney?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Dan?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Is anybody here for 8? Yeah. Raymore and Flanagan?
They are on Zoom.
Oh, they're zooming in. Okay, great, thank you. I'm looking at one guy, I know he's from Retro. So. Petition number 7, Retro Fitness, 516 Lincoln Highway, Fairless Hills, requesting a dimensional variance to permit a sign area of 123.7 square feet, which exceeds the allowable sign area of 32 square feet. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right.
Hi.
Okay. I'll be sworn in. And I'll learn your name.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Could you please state your full name and spell it?
Sure. Michael Sonlin, Sonlin.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sondland, we're going to mark some exhibits for the petition, and we're going to turn it over to you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB 1, along with accompanying letter from Effective Sign Works that is not dated, but addressed to Planning and Zoning Department, 188 Old Lincoln Highway, Fairless Hills, PA 19030. 2 will be a permanent denial letter from Falls Township dated March 22nd, 2022, from Falls Township to Klein Group. 3 is a set of plans for the proposed sign. 4 is the notification to the applicant for tonight's meeting. That letter was addressed to Bill Zolnowski, Zolnowski, dated June 6, 2022. 5 is 4 pages containing 4 colored photographs, one of which shows that the property was posted as required. 6 will be proof of publication in the Bucks County Courier Times, showing this matter was published May 31st, and then again June 7th, 2022. As the board may recall, this matter was postponed until tonight's meeting, and it was previously published in the Bucks County Courier Times. A1 will mark for applicant 1. I've been previously provided the certification of mailing from Mike Sonlin, Sonlin. Included in that A1 certification of mailing was a list of addresses. And now that Mr. Sonlin, he's been placed under oath, if I can ask him, Mr. Sonlin, the list of addresses received a copy of the letter providing notice of tonight's meeting?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied the appropriate notice have been satisfied. This matter can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Billingmeyer. Hey, Mr. Sondland, how are you?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Mike Sonlin. I work for Effective Sign Works, and I'm representing Retro Fitness Klein. Unfortunately, the owner couldn't be here tonight, but hopefully I can take it through and answer any questions. So Retro Fitness nationally has changed their logo, as you can see from our plans. It's a little different, a little less beefy, a little less colorful, and we're going through the country and we're updating the signage. So a code that was in place that allowed for 150 square feet, which is roughly what's existing, no longer exists in this plaza. So what we're proposing is 123.7. So we're about 18% less than what's there. The tough part about this logo is you have this swoop, and if you calculate the biggest height by the biggest width, you're calculating a lot of wall space on this logo. So mass-wise, there's a lot less here. If you were to geometrically calculate the square footage of this and separate that piece, we would be under 100 square feet. This is very consistent to the other signs in the plaza. The Dollar Tree is pretty big. I mean, everything in there is, I can go down the list if you need me to. And it's tucked back off of Route 1. It's not sitting right on Route 1. So the need for visibility is pretty clear. I did some visibility charts as to how we came up with this size, if it's needed. If not, I'll let you guys fire away and ask questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Sondland. Al?
No, we approved many of these signs, and I agree. You need a long
Okay.
sign to go and see from Route 1.
Doug?
No, I see what you're doing. I got you. I'm good.
Okay, Laney?
I also see what you're trying to do, and I agree.
Aaron?
No questions.
I have no questions. I'm sure it's going to be in keeping with the rest of the facade, or wouldn't get approved from the
Yeah.
owner of the buildings.
Yeah.
Any public comments? No public. Matt, anything we need to know from the township?
Nothing from the township.
Thank you. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. I'll make that motion, Dan.
Thank you.
I move that the application of Retro Fitness requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-45.Q5B of Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to permit a sign area of 123.7 square feet, which exceeds the allowable sign area of 32 square feet at the property located at 516 Lincoln Highway, Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania 19030, as depicted on the plans and in accordance with the testimony presenting to the zoning hearing board.
Second, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Doug, poll the board?
Laney?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Dan.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Simon.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Good luck. Okay, is it just you, Mr. Marinos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Marinas, yes.
Marinas, thank you. Okay, let me open this petition first, please. Petition number 8, Raymore and Flanagan, 130 Enterprise Avenue, Morrisville, PA, Zone Highway Industrial, requesting a dimensional variance to permit a 6-foot fence within the front yard. Mr. Marinos, we'll have you sworn in now by our court reporter. The next voice you hear will be hers.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you please state your full name and spell it?
My name is Michael Marinis, M-A-R-I-N-I-S. I represent the firm of CM Engineering, 98 Fair Street, Guilford, Connecticut. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the states of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania.
Great, thank you, Mr. Marinos. We're going to have you, we're going to mark some of the exhibits for the petition through our solicitor, and then I'm going to turn it over to you to explain to us what's going on, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we'll mark the application for zoning ordinance appeal as ZHB 1, along with the accompanying letter from CM Engineering. 2 will be a permit denial letter from Falls Township dated August 12, 2021. That was addressed to Morrisville CSC, LLC. 3 are pictures containing examples of existing security fences nearby applicant's property. 4 is a proposal, it's a proposed fence plan for this application. 5 is 5 pages containing 5 colored photographs, one of which shows that the property was posted as required. 6 is notice to Mr. Marinis, if I pronounce that right, I'm sorry. June 29, 2022 is the date of the letter from Falls Township giving notice of tonight's meeting. 7 is the Zoom authorization signed by the applicant. 8 is proof of publication of Bucks County Courier Times showing this matter was published June 28th and then again July 5th, 2022. I've been previously provided the certification of mailing. We'll mark that as A1. That was sent by Mr. Michael Marinis. Sir, now you've been placed under oath. Do you swear and affirm that the copy of the letter provided was sent to all the addresses listed in your certification of mailing?
I do.
Great. Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied the appropriate notice have been satisfied. This matter can proceed.
Great, thank you, Mr. Billingmeyer. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Marinos, yep, all yours.
Yes, thank you. First of all, the Sonny Roussel from Raymore and Flanagan apologizes. There was a death in the family recently, and that's why he was unable to attend. Morrisville CSC is owned by Raymore and Flanagan Furniture, and they purchased the warehouse about a year and a half ago for material storage and distribution. The subject property is located at 130 Enterprise Avenue in Morrisville. To the west is located a recharge basin, and to the north, south, and east are similar industrial buildings. The reason for the need for the fence is that within a couple days after they first purchased the property, they incurred $25,000 worth in losses, theft, and there was another theft a few days after that. The proposed fence is strictly for security purposes. The 6-foot security fence is only proposed along the site frontage where the access driveways are, and this is the most feasible way to provide the needed security for the property. Security fencing is of the character in the existing industrial area and is not detrimental to the public. And we note that there is a similar security fence located directly across the street and a couple other properties within the industrial area that I forwarded to your attention. What happened was the owner began to install the security fence along the south property line and was informed by your office that it needs a variance, and we received a letter of violation back in August, and that's why we've prepared this application. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great, thank you. Laney?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Thank you. Aaron?
No questions, thanks.
Thanks, Doug.
No questions.
Al?
Just want to make sure Ed was out, or Matt, was Ed out looking at the site triangle? If it's going to block any views?
I was out there, Al, it looks pretty good.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I have no questions. Any public comments or questions? Okay. And anything from the township? Okay, great. Thank you. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. I move that the application of Raymore and Flanagan requesting a dimensional variance from section 209-37.c of the Falls Township zoning ordinance be granted to permit a 6-foot fence within the front yard of the property located at 130 Enterprise Avenue, Morrisville, Pennsylvania 19067, as depicted on the plans in accordance with the testimony presented to the zoning hearing board.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Doug, call the board.
Laney?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and Dan.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Meredith.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good night. Did we advertise about, oh, sorry, this is just speak here. Did we advertise about getting rid of Zoom for the public comments? Do we have to vote on that or motion? No. Okay. Keith?
Your question was, does it have to be voted on?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, just like the time of meetings and stuff like that executively, okay? Yeah. Just wanted to make sure before we end up with someone on Zoom again. Okay, other than that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Keith, go crack one.